much-needed resources to Black Canadian charities and nonprofits who have done so much for so many with so little resources. Thank you.
The honourable member for South Surrey, White Rock.
Mr. Speaker, after 8 years of this Liberal Prime Minister, we have an economy that punishes the middle class and those struggling to stay in it. But Liberal friends, they're doing great. 37 corporations took the Liberal wage subsidy, then spent $173 billion on dividends, share buybacks, and takeovers. The Liberals are refusing to make them pay back the money. So Canadian workers foot the bill when they can barely afford mortgages, rent, and groceries. When will the Liberals force their corporate friends to pay back that money?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
The parliamentary secretary has been up many times on this subject. The reality is the process of collecting money is ongoing. I would remind the party opposite that they opposed at that moment in time many of the measures that were critical to make sure we got money out instantly to those who needed it, to keep doors open, to keep businesses going, and we have an opportunity to talk to those businesses every day and hear that that's the truth. Mr. Speaker, they're not only wrong about that, but I would say, as they say things like, 8 years instead of 7, I know they're bad at math, Mr. Speaker, but really, I would ask them to be a little bit more realistic in how they're speaking.
Well, member for South Surrey, White Rock.
Mr. Speaker, we supported businesses staying open. We didn't support large dividends for their large corporate friends. The minister refuses to do her job after 8 years in her portfolio and 10,000 more tax collectors. It's her duty to go after fraud of any taxpayer money. She protects wealthy shareholders and executives. Her government drives up interest rates and inflation, and life becomes unaffordable for working Canadians. Even the parliamentary budget officer is sounding the alarm on this incompetence. Why does it feel like everything is broken? Because the Prime Minister won't do his job, so will he get out of the way and let Conservatives...
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The member talks about fiscal responsibility. When Conservatives continue to make the case, unfortunately, that crypto poses some kind of promising future for Canada, this government has introduced and will continue to do the vital work of standing by Canadians through the pandemic and into the future. With respect to what the member raises on evasion and avoidance work, just with respect to the Panama Papers and the response, 900 individuals identified as subjects of concern by the CRA, 160 audits are underway, and 200 audits have come to completion. The work continues, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable. Mr. Speaker, after 8 years of this Prime Minister, nothing is too good for Liberals. For Liberal friends, the middle class is finding hard to pay their bills, but it's Klondike for large corporations. 37 corporations have asked for billions of dollars of wage subsidies, and what did they do with that money? Well, they gave themselves bonuses. In our riding offices, we have people who call us to say that the CRA is at their heels. But the CRA is doing nothing against large corporations. Will the Prime Minister finally step up to the plate and reimburse Canadians, Mr. Speaker? The Honourable Minister for Tourism. The Parliamentary Secretary was right in his answer earlier. The CRA continues its auditing of wage subsidies. Our government implemented regulations, specific regulations, to regulate the abusive use of wage subsidies, including those that were used to buy shares and for bonuses. We will find people who committed fraud. We will defend Canadians. We are here to deliver for Canadians. That is what we are here to do, and that's what we will do. The Honourable Member from Mégantic-L'Érable, after 8 years of this government, they don't even know what's happening in their own department and in their own government. The CRA Commissioner stated that there was no point trying to recoup $15 billion that was dispersed to companies. If the CRA Commissioner said that, it's not me. They're following the example of this Prime Minister for the past 8 years. Will the Prime Minister ask his minister to finally do her job and get the money back? Or perhaps they should let us take their place. The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, it took us 7 years and a few months in order to repair the harms of the previous Conservative government, and we'll continue to rectify their wrongs. When they claim that they are helping Canadians, we are actually helping Canadians. We have a strong economy, we are helping Canadians. They will cry and wail, but we will deliver on this side. The